So let's continue on with part 2 of creating the pyramid chart in Chart.js 4. So what we need to do now is make sure that this looks a bit more appealing. So I'm going to scroll down here and I will do something specifically. And we can work, I guess, on the Y scale. What I want is this item, I want to put it in the center here, or at least make the scale clearly in the center. And then what we could do as well is we can start putting some negative values on this. Well, let's do the negative values first. So what I will do here, everything will be just negative, and later on I will explain what we're going to do, or you will understand exactly why. Oh, it already works quite nicely. So you can see here now we have converted it, but of course I don't like this here, and this should be more in the center. You can see here, because this is the base of the chart, this is the reason why there is a line or like a skipped line. So we can solve that by saying here in the options, because I want to apply them both data sets, border skipped set false, comma save. There we are. So now we have that. There might be, as you can see here, maybe a grid line. We can see it probably more clearly if I say this will be 0.5. There might be a thicker line and some other items. We can remove that and clear out that to avoid the confusion. Oh, sorry, not yet. Once I move this here. So let me show you exactly how we can move this. We go in, let's see here, where I'm going to target here is basically the Y scale. And I want to say here, I want to place it in a different position. So I say comma, and then we can say here position, and we can say here center. By doing this, it will start to move to the center, but of course, the labels are not really perfect. And there is no way in Chart.js to do this with easy code. There is a way, I'll show you in the other part, how we can put it nicely in the center. But for now, if you look very carefully here, we have these lines here on the grid, like these thick lines, because it assumes it just continues on with the same structure what we had here on the left side. It just duplicates that here. So what I want to do is I want to remove these tick marks, and I want to remove this border line here. And for now, I'll just remove the tooltip because the tooltip is giving me a big bit of a distraction. So what I'm going to do here in scales, after the scales, comma, I'm going to say plugins, and then I'm going to say here tooltip, and then say display, or not display, enable, and say false. Save that, refresh, no more tooltip. Alright, so let's then, now we don't have no more tooltip, let's remove the grid here. So basically in here, comma, we can say here grid display equals false, save. Alright, you can see here that maybe it's not the right one. What I want to do here then is instead of the grid, or maybe not the grid specifically, I will say here the draw of the tick lines. So draw ticks, set this on false, save, refresh. You can see here now we have no more this darker gray here. So what you can remove as well as the border in the center if this is desirable. We say comma, we say border, and we say here display false, save, refresh. There we are. So now we have this here. What we can do next is coloring these items here. Let's give it a color, and or we can say here comma, I'll say here the font, or instead of color I'll make this bold. I'm going to say here font, and then weight will be equal to font weight will be bold. That's bold. Make sure you have the string value, save, refresh. Alright, sorry, my bad. So this is of course not like that, and the reason why is I need to be in the ticks. So let's do this. Cut this out, put that in there. Save, refresh. Now it's nice and bold. We can even say here the font size. Make sure you have a comma. Put in here size, say 15 pixels. 15, save, refresh. Beautiful. Alright, so now we have this here. What I want to do is, well, we can give it even a color. I want to give it around a color. And for that, what I need to do is within the ticks object, I'm going to say here the following. I'm going to say here show label backdrop. Set this on true. By doing this, we're now allowing Chart.js to give this a nice background color, specifically for the label. So then we're going to say here backdrop color let's give this a gray color. Save, refresh, and as you can see here, we get a gray color. But maybe this is not very desirable, because what is happening here is we're not overlapping it. We're underneath it, and then the bar is on top of it. And let me just, I remember we had the category scale or category percentage active here on, or bar percentage on 0.5. Let's make this on 1, so 100%. There we are, that looks slightly better. But then we have this here, should have a more clear item. So how do we do this? Well, we can just say a comma. We're going to say here the z index, basically. We're going to give it number 1. What this means is that it will be drawn afterwards. You can see here it works, but it's quite tough to see. Let's do the color for the font. We're going to say here text color. Let's make this white. Save. And then make sure we have a comma, or else you get an error. There we are. That looks slightly more better. What I do want is here have some padding left and right. So we can do here, and then specifically the padding for the backdrop. So we can say here backdrop padding. And let's make this 5 pixels or 6 pixels. Save that, comma, save, refresh, and as you can see here, we have this here. So you can see here, I'm not able to push this more to the right, so that's a pity. So what we can do here, by the way, and that's the final one here, because we have it here on the center, let's see where that is. The center here, position center. So there's another way to position it. But even with that, it doesn't work. So we can say here, I want to position it specifically on the X scale. Where exactly? Well, let's say my number 10. You can say here 10, save that. And what happened now, the scale is moving here. So what we could do maybe is, that's one of the tricks, is to say here 0, refresh, or maybe number 1. But you can see here, it's alright, but I have a better way later on. I'll show you as well. So we have this here. Let me just look at one more way. Maybe we can do a alignment of it to get it really perfect. So I'm going to say here, tick, and then we can say here, align. Let's do it on the center. See if this will work. Save, refresh. It's not really, it really just aligns here on the left side. What we could do here, another one is a cross, align, and put that in the center and see if this one will work. That will help us to align it a horizontal level, but it doesn't work as well. So next video, let's start to first solve this issue here, because this is still the negative values, and that should be shown as a positive value. So we have some tricks for that. And also the tooltip has that same issue.